this man goes to Costco and gets a 7-pound bag of pistachios.
Pistachios. They're dank, by the way.
They're really good. But
they're awesome.
You can like see where Doug's trail is. Like if Doug ever committed a crime, the police would know exactly where that guy is.
They'd follow the Tic Tac bottles and pistachio shells that he leaves. We played Cuscawilla yesterday, and we were just randomly walking up this huge hill. It was like a death march. And Buck and I were walking next to each other, and all of a sudden he goes, "Look, he's been here." It's just like 2 pistachio shells laying on the ground. It was the funniest thing ever. Well, everybody, welcome to another episode of the DawgLeg Show. I've got a different face up here with me today that is not George Langham. And it's probably a face that you will see a few more times this season that we did not introduce once, but all of you guys probably saw on leaderboards last year. His name is Buck Brumlow. Buck, say hi to everybody.
What's up, everybody?
He's from Cartersville. He hits it really far. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen him on your Instagrams if you guys are Georgia golf fans. So without further ado, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Loflin.
Of course. Buck really wanted to make his debut on the show. We have a little something in the works. We're going to do a break 50 challenge. We basically think Bryson DeChambeau's a chop.
We don't think that. But, yeah, we're going to do a 3-man scramble at the country club one day from the ladies' tees. And we're going to hope we can drive a couple greens there and break 50, shoot 49. Just
because Bryson hasn't done it yet. And it might be unfair since we're doing it with 3 people, but I figure if he hasn't done, he technically had, he had the whole entire Bob Does Sports on there.
Yeah.
So that kind of counts. George does. It's really just me and Buck. George doesn't count.
George might make a couple putts.
Hopefully George sees
that. Maybe chip a couple to a foot. But other than that,
George will put it in every fairway. Yeah, he'll put it on every green. He'll hit it to 5 feet 3 times. Me and Buck will putt first. We'll make it. George will be out there for comedic relief. But
so I think you got to make 5 eagles and then the rest birdies.
I don't know the math on it. Is that what it is?
It's 23 under.
23 under. Is that 5 eagles just like any holes?
Any holes. Yeah. So really you have to eagle all the par 5s and a par 4 and then birdie the rest.
And you can't, the par 3s is like kind of the tough part.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Which I think even out there, I'm just going through some of them in my head. 12 would be brute.
9 iron.
Yeah, but you're you have to make birdie.
Not really.
I guess you can make an extra eagle.
I think we're playing an easier golf course than what he's playing.
That is true, but we're not going to cut that part. We're not going to
cut
that. But you don't have to cut that actually. This was what I told you that I was going to bring up to you. This is a complete segue, flip 180 of what we were just talking about. But what I told you we were going to talk about before the episode, and I thought this was really interesting, was some dude. I don't know who it is. I didn't read the headline, but it was on Golf Digest. I just saw it come up. And Doug talks about these things all the time. It's dosing mushrooms on the golf course. And apparently, some of the rules have changed for the NCAA this year. I don't really know what that entails, and I've talked to our athletic trainer very bluntly about it because I'm always one for competitive edge.
Right there with you.
It is what it is. Apparently, if you dose ayahuasca, it just flatlines you. Aaron Rodgers has had a little bit of a situation this year where apparently every room he sits in, he sees some shadowy figure. But that dude's playing at, how old is Aaron now?
Gotta be at least 40.
38, 39, 40?
Yeah.
He's 40. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's playing in the league. That guy throws a lot of touchdowns. Yeah. I'd be willing to try it. I just don't know if it's legal. But I don't know what your thoughts on that are.
Is that not what we did that one day at Great Waters? That was what we did. Remember we dry scooped it.
No, that was something different. That was that was lion's mane.
Was it? I thought it was mushrooms.
No.
I always had those mushrooms.
It was mushrooms.
Yeah.
Doug is interested. Doug's always, he was actually just talking about, we're going to have to get Doug. One day we're going to get Doug on here. Maybe, if it's like pulling teeth trying to get him on, because we would literally be in here for 5 hours. But he was talking about we're gonna have somebody come on like November 13th or whatever.
Yeah.
We're gonna have like a sauna, ice baths. What's the guy's name? Brian Peters.
Yeah,
but he has like this whole entire setup, and we're just having a team meeting here about 20 minutes ago, and Doug sits in the corner of our team meetings. He doesn't really say much, but sometimes he'll just pipe up from the corner, and he's like, "Yeah, we got Brian Peters coming out here on the 13th. I'm gonna get my heart rate to 12." And I was like, "Doug, what's death?" And he's like, "Pretty close to that.
Just above that.
Just above
just
that.
under that."
Yeah. So Doug's kind of like, he's kind of willing to try anything along those lines.
Yeah, I would love to. Our assistant coach, Jim Douglas, takes 400 milligrams of melatonin every other day, which if
400 milligrams.
12, if your heartbeat's 12, that's got to be pretty close to 400 milligrams of melatonin.
He's become obsessed with getting as much recovery as possible on his Whoop.
And he lives for it.
Look, for me, this is my idea on that. I've never wanted a Whoop.
I wore one in high school.
I think it's a great idea, and I think it helps a lot of people out. But for me personally, here's how my brain would conceive the data I was seeing on there. I personally would work my ass off to get to bed at a good hour and try to, I'd take some melatonin, get to sleep, stay off my phone. And then I'd wake up, like say it was the night before a tournament. I'm like, okay, I want to lock in. I want a good recovery. Say I do all that stuff and then I wake up and I got like 30%.
Oh, you're screwed.
I'm going to be like, dude, I don't have my stuff today. Already from the start, from the get-go, I am just so cooked. Like, I don't want to see that. I'd rather just like lie to myself.
Exactly.
Have you ever seen, did you watch Receiver on Netflix this summer?
A little bit of
that show?
Yeah.
How crazy is George Kittle?
Funny as hell.
I love George Kittle.
Me too.
I always like George Kittle, but I think his mental approach is probably about as good as it can.
Especially for golf. It's legendary.
It's perfect for us. Yeah. It's perfect for football, but in like a different way. Like the dude could have a torn Achilles and be like, my Achilles isn't torn.
Yeah.
He just speaks everything into existence. Yeah, he just completely lies to himself. With a Whoop, it's indisputable.
Yeah.
Maybe
you just don't look at it till after.
Oh man, but then there's also the side, this is like kind of why I like roulette when I go to a casino. Like it's red or black. It's very cut and dry. Yeah. There's also the side where like, what if I got like 90%? Then like I'm gonna feel even better.
That's true.
But
when I wore Whoop, I would forget to charge it. I'd lose the charger like once a month, and yeah, the recoveries were definitely a little sketch. I don't think they're completely accurate, anyways.
I just don't.
And I think they lie to you.
I just feel like I'd be worse. I'd probably be better off because it would like scare me into like doing better. Like you have to kind of like make a habit of that stuff. Like you can't just go to sleep. Apparently, that's what the scientists tell you. You can't just go to sleep for one night, like, at a decent hour and like expect to have a good recovery.
Yeah,
you got to do it for like
puts
weeks.
You into a better.
It gives you better routine probably.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm now on the Mookie DeMoss, all the pills he takes.
Yeah.
I haven't been very good about creatine the past few days. The weekends are tough. But I've been taking the magnesium
before you sleep.
I take it when I have noticed a difference with that.
Mm-hmm. I used to do that.
I take it in the morning and at night.
Yeah.
And that's like 10 horse pills. If I don't show up to the golf course one day, just like check my house because I probably choked on one of those things.
Big old pill.
Because you take 5 of them at a time.
That's insane.
Yeah. So I'm taking 5 of that. You take 10 a day. I take 5 in the morning, 5 before bed. That's for recovery. Mm-hmm. And then I started taking, I don't really know if this is legal. I started taking ashwagandha gummies twice a day. And that's supposed to level you out. So the mushroom effect, basically. But that's supposed to that's like for cortisol, which is your stress hormone, apparently.
Chills you out.
Apparently it can over time. I don't know. Yeah. I'm still a klutz, but I've, maybe in a month from now, I'll just be flatline.
Yeah.
Have no idea what's going on, but I don't know.
Bob Marley out there striping golf.
I don't know about that.
Course.
But I've always been very intrigued by like the medicinal deal. I thought it was going to say Ricky Fowler.
Really?
it was apparently, I ended up looking, I checked into the article. It's DJ Trahan.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen his name in forever. So, I don't know how much mushrooms really help. But, clearly, I mean, he said that the article mentioned how he was known for being kind of, he could run pretty hot.
Yeah.
But the article mentioned how now he's just kind of like a chiller.
Yeah. I need that in my life.
Yeah. Well, we're really big on attitude this year.
Yeah.
They're drilling us really, really hard about the attitude and body language, which is a good thing, because when you look at people on tour, it is, they are the good players are all just like, they're almost zombies.
Not too high, not too low.
No, yeah.
Just chill.
Xander is like perfect for that.
Yeah.
Honestly, Scotty kind of crashes out sometimes.
Yeah, he does, but I think he does it in a good way.
He does it in a
Some
good-
people need that little brief moment of just letting everything out, and then he goes right back to his process.
It doesn't take long.
No, literally.
It doesn't take long. But there was a couple times in the playoffs where, like during the year, I didn't notice him
Me neither.
doing that much. And then all of a sudden, between Colorado and the Tour Championship, it happened like a few times. And I was like, personally, if I was playing golf in Colorado and I like striped a wedge that went 50 yards too far, like with the elevation, I'd be pretty chapped too.
Yeah.
But he could have some.
Yeah, I remember was it 8 when he hit it out of that bunker at East Lake? It's not when he plugged it. I think it was the day before.
It was it wasn't the one with
thinned it like 20 feet over or past the pin, and he like.
Oh yeah, it was like a straightforward bunker shot.
Threw his wedge.
He had a sneak Sergio Garcia moment.
Yeah, and then he like next hole just striped a 4-iron to like that.
He had like the back fourth slam.
He was like mad at the sand for like not having enough sand or something.
I don't know what the deal with that one was.
Yeah,
that was one of the ones I was thinking of though.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But
I definitely have some of that in me.
Well, I mean, I think everybody does a little bit. You probably more than me personally.
Yeah.
Everybody's different, which is interesting. We started working with a different cat this year. He's not technically a sports psychologist. This guy named Seth Kendig. He's with a organization called Seth's the man. It's his organization is called Better, and they help people in business. They help athletes. They kind of do the whole entire thing. Yeah. Anybody that's in a leadership type role, that's kind of their forte of like bettering human beings. And they break down, what kind of personality you are. And then they basically, to enhance your performance, they help you understand yourself first. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty cool. It's not really, like I said, it's not like a sports psychologist where like, it's not the same in the fact, like if you were having trouble pulling the trigger over a driver, it's not really that type of thing where it's like, well, what are some exercises we can do to get you out of that problem?
Yeah, it's like a combination of a sports psychologist and like almost a therapist, where he like kind of picks your brain until he figures out exactly what you're struggling with, and then he gives you information on how to correct that. Gives you tasks. So like every time we play golf, we'll have a sheet, and we have like 4 or 5 tasks that we want to complete with it in the round, and you rank yourself 1 through 5, and if it's not 5, you talk to Seth about why it wasn't a 5 and how you get better at it, which I think is really cool.
I think it's great. Yeah. And the feedback's pretty instant too, because I think we started doing this probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was kind of, it's not easy to do while you're out on the golf course in a tournament. You keep a scorecard, you're looking at your pin sheet, you're also trying to write down 5s. We've kind of made some adjustments to it, but what we started to notice after literally 2 weeks, we probably had 6-ish competitive rounds under our belt between tournaments and qualifying like just qualifying doing this. It wasn't like a thing where people were just writing 5s so they didn't have to explain why they weren't being 5s. It was like genuinely people started to see how important it was to make a fully committed golf swing. And if it wasn't committed, it was almost better, because when it wasn't like a 5 out of 5, and I know Connor actually talked about this on the podcast last year, but when it wasn't a 5 out of 5, we always had to identify in the moment why it wasn't a 5 out of 5. So it really didn't give you time to be just pissed off for no reason. Yeah. It basically helped you kind of put a finger on, well, why am I angry? Like, I know that wasn't the best golf swing I could put on that, and I just had something in the back of my mind that was holding me back from doing the best I could.
I like it too, because it gives you almost some clarity within your golf game when you're kind of struggling with your swing or aren't fully committed to what you're doing on the golf course, like it gives you something else to think about other than just yourself and your score, which I think is really cool. I struggle with being too competitive, and that really is cool for me. I've never done anything like that, and I think it's helped me a lot in the last couple of weeks.
It's a completely different take on it.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, because it's not, you actually, I mean, you just grade yourself. And maybe sometimes I feel like sometimes I'm giving myself the benefit of the doubt too much. Because sometimes I have a hard time figuring out when it was a committed swing.
Yeah.
When it was just like a bad golf shot. That can get gray. If you're not hitting it great, then there's kind of a gray area where like, well, was I really committed to that or was it just a bad golf swing?
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. But no, I think it's been awesome just because there's a measuring stick for like how much you're committing to a golf shot.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that stuff it's so important. And those guys at the highest level are so polished with stuff like that. They just don't make you rarely see a PGA Tour pro in just like the middle of a golf tournament. Say it's Friday on the back nine. Like, if they're somewhere around the lead or they're not really close to the cut line, there's no sense of like adrenaline. They're just in the middle of their week. They're not going to just randomly hit a high yaw off of a tee if they're hitting it good.
Yeah.
They're always just like so locked into what they're doing.
They're so mentally strong.
And bought in too.
Yeah,
they're very bought in.
Doing.
They sell out on whatever they do, which is something that's kind of why they're there. But also along with the fact that they hit the ball really good.
Yeah.
But this is kind of another segue. You've been playing some very, very good golf this fall, which is something I would like to talk about because it's hard to go unnoticed. We've played in 4 tournaments so far, and Buck's finished top 10 3 times, and he's had 2 top 5s. And I know you've struggled in past years, so what do you think the biggest change this year has been?
The biggest thing, it's with Seth, is that I talk about really fully committing to my game plan. And he said earlier that I'm a long guy. I'm a long ball hitter, and sometimes I struggled with not knowing when to hit driver and when to lay back into certain scenarios. And with Mookie and with Seth, kind of figuring out where fairways work for my driver compared to a lot of other people playing in these tournaments. That's really helped me. And then I've kind of figured out how to putt the golf ball, which helps when you're not hitting the best.
That helps a lot.
Yeah, so it's been cool. It's been fun to watch. I'm hoping that it'll keep snowballing. Maybe we'll get a win or 2 in there as a team and
a couple dubskis
individually. Yeah, help a lot. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been cool.
That'd be tour.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
I personally think as well, and you can say if I'm wrong on this, but you know, I think when you hit 16 greens around and you hit a lot of those inside of 20 feet, which are makeable putts. I mean, even if it's like 17 feet, like some of them don't break much. It is what it is. It's makeable. Yeah. I feel like your expectations for what you should be doing putting are way different than a guy like me, for example. I can just go ahead and say I've struggled a little bit with my ball striking the past few weeks in tournaments. Whenever I'm chipping it up there, you know, to 6 or 8 feet from for par every single time and making a lot of those, it makes me seem like a better putter than I am because I'm gaining a lot of stats I'm gaining like a lot of shots on those putts. Yeah. Like every 8-footer you make is half a shot. Mm-hmm. Legit. Like it's pretty significant. Yeah. Say I have a day where I go and, you know, I miss 8 or 9 greens and I chip all those to 8 feet and I make, I don't know, 7 of them, 8 of them. I'm going to gain a lot of strokes putting that day. I'm not going to lose many. Whereas a guy like Buck, every time he hits it to 20 feet, that's like minus 0.2 if you miss that putt because it's 20% make percentage. Yeah. So it's minus 0.2 shots, which doesn't sound like much. It's like, oh, you're splitting hairs. On strokes gained, if you do that all day, you know, if you don't, I mean, the odds that you make a 20-footer are like 1 in 5. So
maybe less than that.
Yeah. So like, I mean, really, when you hit it to 20 feet all day, then your putting stats are not going to be great. Yeah. So I always felt like you've been a good putter. Maybe you haven't believed it because putts haven't been falling.
Yeah. I mean, it's just hard, you know, when you're.
The measuring stick is tough.
Yeah. And it's just hard to keep telling yourself that they're going to go if you're hitting it to 20 feet all day. You know, and they're just not going in.
That is like the most frustrating way to play golf.
Like, yeah. And it comes off as I'm not a good putter. And I think I've kind of finally realized that, like, the golf ball doesn't care.
No.
So every hole is a different scenario. Could go in one day and then keep going in if you keep hitting good putts. So it's really cleared my mind up just to read every putt like it's the first putt you hit all day.
Exactly. And also, I talked a bunch to this with Ben Benwick last year, because he's an impeccable putter.
Best putter I've ever seen.
Makes just buckets full. I mean, if he hits his irons good. I mean, he literally explained it to me. He was like, Gata, if I hit my irons good, I win the golf tournament. Every time. If I hit my irons good, I'm always going to hit fairways. I just have to hit it kind of close to the hole. I'm going to make putts. I'm like, okay, which is totally true.
Completely true.
If he just hits greens, then he's going to contend.
Because like, see this guy's putter too.
It's like
it's 3 degrees flat with a -1 degrees of loft, and he sits back there like this and just pops it in the hole. It's the craziest thing.
Nothing about it is orthodox.
No,
it's a tailor-made spider putter, but nothing about it is normal at all. His hands are behind the ball. There's negative loft on the putter. The only reason it got like that in the first place, I think it got ran over by like a golf cart or something.
Yeah, and I think he just used it for so long, and he's got a little bit of a temper himself. He might have bent it a little bit, found where it worked.
Yeah, it just became his thing. But I talked to him a lot last spring and over the summer about putting and whatnot, and he was like, "Look, the biggest thing that you can just narrow it down to is whether you're hitting a good putt or not."
Yeah.
He's like, if you hit a good putt, he's like, it's all you can do. There's so much out of your control. I mean, I even saw this video on Instagram of JT putting in Japan from like down the line. It was on green level camera. It was like a perfect camera angle straight down the line. And those greens are probably as perfect as you're going to get bent. That course looked like there wasn't a grass out of place. When you put the camera down like at green level and you watch the ball roll, you can see it wiggle back and forth a little bit. Those are on the most perfect putting surfaces you can possibly putt on.
Yeah. It's pure luck after hitting a good putt.
After hitting a good putt, the only thing you really have control over is your speed and how, where you start it.
Yeah.
If you read them, the fact you make, if you read them, but the fact you even make putts in the first place is kind of nuts.
It's mind blowing.
Because I mean, the putts, the greens we play on typically are not bad at all.
No.
But they're maybe not quite that level of just like pure perfection that
the tour
plays on week to week.
Yeah.
But, even just watching that, I was like, I think it was bent greens they had over there.
Yeah.
It looked like bent everything. Watching that, I was like, dang, like even those greens are kind of like bobbling back and forth. Like it was pretty eye-opening, because I think a lot of us, like, I think I told you after Mississippi last week, I hit it pretty good there. The first and the last day. Really the last day I hit it pretty dang good.
Yeah.
And I didn't get much out of the round. I shot 1 over, which I mean wasn't horrendous, but because that golf course could be tricky, but I should have played a lot. I should have scored a lot better than I did. Yeah. And I didn't make any putts. And I hit I think I hit like 16 greens last day.
It's crazy how that works, bro.
I was like, Buck, I think I understand why you get more frustrated than I do on a golf course. Literally walked off. I was like, I literally hit 16 greens today, hit a lot of them to where I could make them and actually make something happen, and I didn't make a single putt the entire day. It still chaps me. I mean, I can itch about it right now.
I mean, I was the same way the last round. I mean, I hit it 5 iron from 250 on 1 to
What'd you shoot?
2 under.
That's the difference in your good ball striking and mine, though.
With 2 3-putts.
That's ridiculous to me, though. I don't 3-putt typically.
I don't either.
If I 3-putt, like it's really like my speed's normally pretty good.
Those were the fastest greens I've played in a really long time.
They might be the fastest greens I've ever played in tournament.
Yeah.
Some of them, other than maybe like, no, the U.S. Junior at CCNC was quick.
Yeah, those were hauling.
But I think those were the fastest I'd played in a long time, because they're kind of in the middle of that phase where they're like between being dormant, like in summertime, like they're almost dead, but they're not really.
A lot of people won't understand this, but like they were so fast, you put your putter down and it wouldn't sit. It would move. So basically, if you have a putter that doesn't set perfectly square, it would just rotate.
It rotates. And it's super weird. And that's probably what was messing me up.
Oh my gosh.
Because my putter sets a little open. Yeah. Naturally, just when you set it down flat, for whatever reason, it sets open with where the weight is. I don't know why. But I think every putter kind of has that bias.
Toe hang.
Yeah. And was yours sitting closed?
It was sitting open. We have the same putter, really.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's true. If you were putting with a mallet spider, you would probably love those greens because wherever you set it down, this is like super technical golf things, like golf stuff. But like whenever you putt on greens that are that fast and are cut that low, I mean, it's like if anybody has a putter and has set it down on a hardwood floor.
Yeah.
That was legit how it was. Example. Like if you just go and set it down on your like kitchen floor or a hardwood floor or whatever, like hard surface, how it just sets open like that or sets closed. Yeah. That was like how these greens were.
Yeah. And you like have to manually hope your eyes worked.
Yeah. To get it square.
Yeah.
And it was so weird. And also another thing to that too, these greens were absolutely perfect as well.
Yeah. Another
thing, as the week went on, I felt that as the balls got around the hole, we played later in the day every day, like we played after everybody else, but I felt like I had a lot of putts that were getting really close, like within 5 inches, and they looked like they were going in. They were so fast and so slick that they could just break out of the hole.
I mean, yeah,
or
you
like
have to hit them,
something.
If you have a 15-footer from down slope with a little bit of turning, you have to hit it so soft to not be 5 feet by that the ball has so much time with the gravity to turn. It's crazy. Like you were
playing defense a lot.
Yeah. It's defensive putting and just hoping you can hit it high enough with the correct speed.
Yeah. Doug didn't, I don't know if Doug was really tapped into how quick they were through the practice rounds, and he walked with me all 3 days. And there was one putt out there on number 16. You know where that flag was the first day? What was over there on the left?
Yeah.
I had a pretty good shot out of the rough, and I was like maybe 13 feet long right of the hole. And I putted that putt in the practice round. I was like, okay, this is going to be really messed up, but if I hit this any more than 2 feet past, even though the slope's 8 feet past the hole, if I get it 2 feet past the hole,
going off the green.
Yeah. I'm going to have a 20-footer coming up the hill for par, basically. And I literally just got it started, and Doug was like, that is the fastest putt I've ever seen in my life.
I remember that pin in the practice round.
It was ridiculous.
Because we were with, Ole Miss hosted this tournament, and we were with the head coach trying to put pins out. He'd throw his keys down.
Yeah.
And we'd hit putts to it. And like we kept hitting putts further down the slope, and we were like, this is probably the only place you can put this pin.
On the left side of the green.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you pushed it further back, but then if you push it.
It was bigger slope back there.
It was bigger slope, so it wasn't. Yeah, it was crazy. The place we were playing was this course called Fallen Oak. It was an MGM property.
Yeah, MGM owned it.
Super private. It didn't really feel like you were in Mississippi at all.
Yeah, were you the one saying that? That there's only 17 members?
That was Cam. And I don't even know if there's members, man.
Well, it's
those might just be casino execs.
The MGM gives the high rollers lockers, and you can come play whenever you want, but there's only like 17 of them.
Yeah, so
only 17 people play that golf course. So it was perfect.
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, it wasn't like a Shadow Creek. No. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like that. Like, you might be picturing that, but it was really nice.
Yeah.
It was really, really nice. But yeah, I mean, when you walked, it was a tiny locker room.
Yeah.
Everything about it was super cool. Like when you walked in there, you're like, yeah, this is pretty first class stuff.
Yeah.
Super low key. But I didn't know that until after we were done. Cam said that. And apparently what Cam said is if you spend $1 million at the Beau Rivage or with MGM, I don't know if it's the Beau Rivage or just MGM in general, you get a membership out there for like a year.
Yeah.
That's it.
Crazy.
Which is nuts. Like, it was nice. It was really nice. Yeah. Everything about that place was, pretty first class.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I didn't realize how big the gambling was there. I mean, we were in the sports book watching. I guess you weren't old enough, but
I am.
Oh yeah, you are. But you weren't there. You were doing business 3000.
I had homework. Man. I had homework. I'm a student athlete, student first.
But somebody walked in wearing a Georgia shirt. We were like, "Hey, you a Georgia fan?" He's like, "Yeah, I just put $500,000 on money line."
I heard about that guy.
Holy cow!
I heard about that guy.
Walked out of that place with $1.3 million.
Preach.
So dumb.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. I love that. I heard about that guy the next day. And, that's what my dad said was saying the entire time. He's like, where they got the money from. You know where they got the money from. Exactly. You know why? People are putting $500K on the dogs, which is a safe bet.
Great bet.
I should have done that. But can't.
Cannot.
But, that was a great football game, too.
Yeah,
that was
really good game.
So sick.
It's the first time I've yelled at a TV in a long time.
Well,
when they flipped that call.
Oh, yeah.
I was so mad. I had to go take a shower, change. I couldn't watch it anymore.
It was ridiculous. I personally, I thought what the whole entire stunt Vandy pulled with putting the net
hilarious.
up in front of Texas section was impeccable.
So good.
I'd never seen that. First of all, probably wasn't a PI.
No, not at all.
It wasn't. But once you throw the flag, you can only overturn it, as far as I know, is if you just haven't called it on the field yet. You just pick up the flag and walk on, and everybody's like, okay, yeah, it really wasn't that call anyways. But they had already spotted the ball.
Yeah, we were about to run a play.
We're long overdue on this conversation, but I still can't. The fact that we're 2 weeks removed almost, and it was
the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I know. I just never seen a call reversed on a field.
Me neither.
The next time, hey, Tennessee's coming to town in a couple weeks. They do sell beverages in the UGA Stadium now. Dog fans, you know what to do. You see a call you don't
Bad
like,
call?
Chuck them on there.
Throw it.
Chuck them on there. Give them time. You never know.
Texas didn't even get a flag for it.
Texas did.
That
was the craziest thing.
Can't penalize for us.
That was I thought they'd get an interference call.
For sure.
Something.
How are they on 1st and goal at least? Push them back to like the 20.
Dude, I don't know. It was crazy. Yeah. But it gave them it gave the refs like an extra 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Sitting there. We were watching it. Were you in the sport? You weren't in the sport.
No, I left. I was in my room.
I came down for the second half. I didn't hardly watch it the first half, but I knew we were trouncing them. And then when I came down in the second half and they called that in Sportsbook, that place went berserk. That was the first time I ever watched a game in a sportsbook.
Yeah,
personally.
me too.
It was sick.
Yeah,
There's
it was really
TVs
cool.
everywhere. You can play roulette right in front of you. You sitting at a table where you can just play roulette.
70-year-olds.
Yeah, it was just $5. Oh, Georgia scored. Okay, $5. We have any money on that, honey? Nope. Okay, $5. It was pretty sick though.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was really cool.
What was it called? The Beau Rivage?
The Beau Rivage.
Yeah, that was a cool spot.
Which, you're thinking Biloxi, Mississippi.
Yeah.
You're not thinking maybe, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect before I got there. I personally wasn't thinking casino that nice, maybe.
Me neither. No, it was literally like a casino in Panama City.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
This is a free Beau Rivage plug.
Yeah.
You should be getting paid for saying this.
Hit us up.
That place is sick.
DawgLeg Show, baby.
That place is so sick.
Yeah, it was dope.
Golf course is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it. I liked it. I'm not normally a big casino guy.
Me neither.
Personally.
That was my favorite one we've been to for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not, but I did go down and play blackjack for about 15 minutes and I lost $140 and I left, which is why I don't gamble. I can't
I stole George Langham's seat here so I can tell this story. I was up $90 and George wouldn't let me leave. So I had $190. He wouldn't let me leave. I sat down there until I was at $90, left, got tired of it, came back down there the next night. I was getting bored again. I'm not the biggest gambler. Had like $70 and just threw it all on one hand and it hit $150.
Dude, you always walk out of those places up.
Yeah.
I've
never lost in a casino.
That's nuts to me. See, I have the same exact philosophy that you do. Kind of. If you're up $50, just leave.
It's not like we're trying to make money there. It's just
George just loves the action, man. He loves the action. I will say, the only thing, and this is so messed up, the only thing I've ever made money off of in a casino is slots.
No way.
Dude, I swear. I sat there playing Buffalo for like an hour. Buffalo! I got one of those free 30 spins.
No way.
Oh my God. It was so fun. I made like $300. And that basically set me even on my all-time career. In Puerto Rico, I remember I lost like $100 and I'd never gambled before in my life. Yeah. I was 19 and I was like, this is kind of cool. And then I immediately lost money playing blackjack and I was like, this isn't cool.
Yeah.
At all. Completely did a 180. And I was like, I don't think this is really for me.
No.
Now, if I'd gone in there that night and gotten hot, then it would have created a monster. But luckily,
I don't have that bone in me. Every time I sit down there, I don't want to sit. They make me come.
That's how I am too.
And I win the first 9 hands. I double once, hit, win like the next 6 hands, then I get up and leave.
Dude, I don't win. The thing with that casino too is that there was like, it was $15 minimum for hands, which
that was hefty. It was $25 on Saturday.
Yeah. For me, broke college kid.
Yeah.
I mean, $15 just to
lot
like
of
be
money.
throwing like each time is like, it's going quick.
That's dinner.
It's going quick.
Every day.
I know, that's legit dinner. That is red card every single time. Every time. I thought that was a little, but if I was winning, of course my mom, I was gambling with my mom. I never thought I would do that in my life. I'm sitting down there with George, his parents, and then my mom and me, and Hacker stopped by for a minute. Hacker only does slots.
Yeah.
He loves slots.
Luckiest man alive. Wins every time.
He wins every time, dude. Every time.
It's just not how it's supposed to work.
You find, they should do a study on that guy because you find somebody that wins on slots.
Doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
No. And
consistently.
Rhonda, his wife, is just as lucky or if more lucky than Hacker is.
I think Rhonda's skilled.
She's very skilled. She knows which slots about to hit.
Oh, look at the bees. This is so fun. Look, this one's lighting up. It's actually the funniest thing ever. You run across them. I came downstairs. We came downstairs in Michigan.
Yeah, look at it. And he makes you go watch.
Look, these bees, these bags are so full. Look, they're all about to pop.
His favorite one's the Willy Wonka in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
He made it. Me and Loflin sit there. Was that 2 years ago?
Oh, my gosh. This was
we had
the
to sit there for an
funniest
hour.
thing ever. This was so funny. He got a bonus on this Willy Wonka machine. And me and Buck, you weren't 21 yet.
Neither of us were.
And we were just walking around the casino. Everybody else was there gambling. And you can't really do anything, obviously, if you're not 21. So we were in this Hershey store in the New York. And it's right next to where Hacker was playing slots. And we had just walked past him and sat with him for like 5 minutes. We had walked 15 steps into the Hershey store, about to go all the way up to the second level. And Hacker calls me, he goes, "Get your ass back down here, Minion Parade." Like immediately. And we run back down because we're like, what is going on? And he sits there and for 30 seconds, or probably it was probably like 5 minutes worth of like bonus spins and whatnot. He just keeps going, Cobb, Cobb, Cobb. He didn't win like hardly any money.
No.
He was like, well, I'm sorry I called you guys back down here for that. That was a waste of time. But he loves the slots.
Oh
loves
my gosh, he lives for it.
Yeah. It was good stuff though. I really enjoyed it. I've
was
never, I won once on Buffalo, but I'll probably never win again if I play blackjack. And you don't win in Puerto Rico.
No.
Golly, that, I'm a little sketched out about that place.
Yeah. I mean, where we stay normally had a casino back in the day, and pirates came and robbed them so many times they had to close it down. So I'm sure they're trying to make as much money as they can.
Yeah.
Stash it away before the pirates come.
I don't think that it's very trustworthy.
No.
But, we're still going to do it.
Yeah. We're still going to be there.
We're still going to be there. Doesn't matter.
No.
But, oh man, we really got off of a sidetrack on Doug too, because I didn't even mention, we were talking about the Whoop.
Yeah.
I just remembered he started drinking raw milk.
Oh yeah.
For people who don't know how disgusting raw milk is.
So gross.
I saw this stuff. You know how orange juice, seeps, like the stuff will seep to the bottom and it sections off. Mm-hmm. And you got to shake it.
Yeah.
That's basically how raw milk is.
It's so gross.
Man, I saw it sitting in the fridge in there in our little kitchenette that we got right next to Denise's desk. And, he's got his he'd been talking about this for weeks. He got these 2 cartons of raw milk and he's super excited about it. He got it from the farmer's market and he puts them in the fridge in there and he marks them. Jim Douglas, both of them. And I was like, Doug, ain't nobody touching this stuff except for you.
Yeah.
Like it's literally said Douglas. Jim Douglas on both cartons, and I was like, I'd just like pour some down the sink, see if he knows it, and be like, Cobb, what happened? What the heck happened?
I mean, the stuff that guy does with his nutrition is insane. Like we've probably played, how many rounds do you think we've played at ACC in qualifying this semester? 7, 8?
7, 8, somewhere in that.
So like they go around and check our scores. And this man goes to Costco and gets a 7-pound bag of pistachios.
Pistachios. They're dank, by the way.
They're really good. But
they're awesome.
You can like see where Doug's trail is. Like if Doug ever committed a crime, the police would know exactly where that guy is.
They'd follow the Tic Tac bottles and pistachio shells that he leaves. We played Cuscahuila yesterday. We had our 3rd round of our qualifier yesterday for Hawaii. We're leaving tomorrow, but we had our 3rd round of qualifying yesterday for at Cuscahuila, and we were just randomly walking up this huge hill. And it was like a death march. And Buck and I were walking next to each other, and all of a sudden he goes, "Look, He's been here. It's just like 2 pistachio shells laying on the ground. It was the funniest thing ever. It was so good. But yeah, he mows through them too.
I mean, if he keeps going through it, there's going to be an inch of pistachio shells on like the 3rd hole at ACC behind the green. Like they're going to have to come clean it up.
He had 7 pounds worth of pistachios at the beginning of this qualifier. We started last Wednesday. We finished on Monday. They were all gone.
Gone.
Completely.
I mean, he shares them. But
we helped. We helped.
He had to have eaten 5 pounds of it.
I always grab a handful just because, like,
you don't want. He asked you. I mean, he's like, you got to take it.
Yeah, you want some pistachios? Of course, Doug. I'll take some off your hands real quick. They're actually really. I love pistachios.
I don't know what kind of flavor he gets, but they're really
salt and
good.
pepper. He gets them from Costco.
They're like really done well.
Yeah, great.
They've got some charcoal on them.
Probably Kirkland brand.
For sure.
Something that you can buy in bulk. They're probably like $4, but just goes to show Kirkland does everything better.
Yeah.
They even sell beer now. Don't know if people saw that.
Really?
Yeah, they sell like a
Kirkland
48 case of beer for like 20 cents. It's probably about that much. It's probably great, honestly.
Probably. It's probably just a knockoff of.
I might try it out. I might try it out.
Might as well.
But yeah, I think that's basically all we have today, Buck Brumlow. I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I'm glad that you made it today. I'm glad that you made it. We could show your face before you just show up on our Breaking 50. Who's this guy driving the green every time? Oh, that must be Buck. Okay. Now
24 under. We're coming for it.
24. 25.
And then it's up to the Shambo to play us.
The course is really hard.
Yeah.
It's really
impossible.
hard. It's impossible. We're going to break it. So, good day.
Yeah.
All right.
See y'all next time.
Yeah, see y'all next time.